Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Big East Rewind. I'm Chuck Everson, your host from Villanova, and my co-host, as always, my buddy, my partner, my pal, the great Sonny Spera. How are you, Sonny?
I'm good, Chuck. We got one of my guys today.
You do. It's a little
One of
orange
my
in here. I
heroes. I
get
don't
it,
think I
you
told
know?
you this. He was one of my heroes growing up. I met him at basketball camp.
Oh,
I
really?
was about eight or nine.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's interesting. It's funny when when you get to meet people that you've grown up admiring, and then all of a sudden you're playing kind of in the same shadow and the same footprints as he's played. That's pretty cool.
It was very cool. I got to know him, a bunch of his classmates, and then there was a little known guy from our local area in Candor who was a big time quote recruit at Syracuse that didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Guy by the name of
Well,
Cliff Warwell was a camper, and he was the best camper that year up at Camp Arrowhead down here in the
that
Bay.
sounds like a made-up name, Sonny. Come on, Camp
I'm telling you, it
Arrow.
was a Camp
That
Arrowhead.
sounds like something from Meatballs or something like
Listen,
that.
they had a lake. They had Lake Arrowhead, but Coach Boeheim ran the camp too, and he wasn't even the head coach.
Oh, everybody must have had a lot of fun then if Jimmy's running the camp, Jimmy B.
Well, I think we did actually. We had our own
Wow.
cabins. We did some crazy stuff.
Well, listen, I would love to talk about camp life with you all day, but we're on a budget here, Sonny. We got to keep it moving, man.
Yeah, before Jimmy falls asleep.
So, without any further ado, our guest today played in the 1975 Final Four, and he was named to the NCAA All-Tournament team, Sonny.
Yep.
He's a Syracuse Hall of Fame, a Syracuse All-Century team member, which is really impressive with all the players that have come out of there, Sonny,
Hmm.
including yourself. I mean, we've had
Yeah.
some really, really, all kidding aside, I joke with you, but all kidding aside, there was a tremendous amount of players that came out of there.
Yes, there
So
is.
to be named to the All-Century team, I think is pretty cool. And we'll talk to him about that. And on Saturday, February the 21st,
Yep.
his number 10 goes up into the rafters at the Carrier Dome. Now, I know it's not the Carrier Dome. What's it called now, Sonny?
Oh my goodness, the JMA Wireless
See,
Dome.
it's too long. I just stick with the dome usually, but I used
Now,
Carrier because we're going back in the time machine to 1975. So you have to call it the Carrier Dome. It wasn't even up yet, but I,
Archbald Stadium is what it was back in Chip's days.
yeah. Yeah, I'll stick with the Carrier. His number 10 goes up in the Raptors on the 21st when Syracuse takes on North Carolina and I think this is pretty cool, along with his roommate, Rudy Hackett's number 45. We got with us today, our guest is the great Jimmy Lee. How are you, Jim?
I'm doing pretty good. Nobody's ever called me great before.
Well, listen, there's a first time for everything, Jim. You know,
First time for
you're
everything.
on you're on the Big East Rewind. You never know what's going to happen, Jim. I'd say that to you. But I first of all, let's talk about the uniform thing, the jersey thing. First of all, to have your number retired at that university in particular is quite the honor. I mean, they've had a tremendous amount of great players that have come out of there, and to be with your roommate, how cool is that?
No, I think it's pretty cool. Rudy and I are both looking forward to it. It's
I,
I don't know, to be up
I
there
get,
with today, to be up there with Bing, Carmelo Anthony,
Yeah,
Dennis Duval. Dennis was he was my backcourt partner when I was a
yeah.
junior, and it's something I'll never forget.
yeah. I mean,
Oh,
it's
wait,
it's
Chuck,
quite
just
the
so you
honor.
know, there's a very good chance that Jim, with the last name Lee, he's going to get his name spelled correctly on the jersey.
There's a great chance that they spell that one right.
Now, Rudy Hackett's probably 50-50.
I'm I'm not so
Like,
sure
just
they'll
because
get
they
mine right
spelt
either.
Roosevelt's name wrong, Sonny, you keep going back to that.
Oh, they
I
did.
know more about the Syracuse stuff now, Jim, than anybody except Sonny. Thank God he's here. He's always whispering in my ear like Jiminy Cricket. He's right there for
You
me.
remember that, don't you, Jim?
I remember I was at that game when I
Yeah.
looked down and they spelled his name wrong.
That's
I'm
incredible.
just wondering if they're going to put like a J Lee just to differentiate because see I played with my brother Mike too, who's 2 years ahead of me,
He
Chuck.
also had 1,000 points, right?
He had more than I did,
Did he? Okay.
and
He
heck,
reminds you every day.
I wouldn't have been at I wouldn't have been at Syracuse if it wasn't for Mike. because people say, where else are you going to go? And I just said, if Coach Danforth offers me a scholarship, I'm going to play with Mike. I love playing with him. We played great together, the two of us.
Oh, I'm sure. Brothers are, you know exactly where each other is all the
Yeah.
time. You played so often.
Sonny
You don't
tells
even
me a
have to
story.
look. You just know he's there.
Sonny tells me a story about that when something Mike and I don't really remember it when Mike was coaching Lemoyne College and we were up there working a basketball camp up there. But
Yeah. So here's the deal, Chuck. At night, the players, Coach Boeheim wants the guys to play, right? So we walk out there and there's me, Sean Cairns. I'm pretty sure Jeannie Waldron was playing. Red, we're kind of loaded, right? And we go out there and there's Jimmy, Mike, Mark Waddick, I think it was Kevin King, and I think it was Steve
no,
Shaw,
Stevie
right?
Shaw, it was Stevie Shaw, Peter Ganley.
Yeah. So there's these five, and I'm gonna say it, man, slow white dudes, right? There's not a guy over Mike leads the center at 6'3", okay?
Wow.
I'm
Okay.
like, oh, we're just gonna run him off the court. We got pasted. These guys, the ball moved, back screens. We're like, what the hell is going on? We were getting blown out.
Well, that's that style you get the wise older guy that plays in the park,
So
and that's the
smart.
guy everybody wants to play with because everybody's going to touch the ball and you usually win. That's
Yeah.
usually how that happens, right?
The ball moved.
Hey, speaking of the park, Chuck, I don't believe that any of these kids nowadays have ever played in the park because everything's organized in AAU. Do you think the same thing?
100% I agree with you, Jim. I mean, it's funny because I think when you're playing one night practice and you play 8 games on the weekend, you're not really learning anything. You're always next game, next game, and there's no emphasis on winning and losing. So in the park, there's so many life lessons that you learn. First of all, you learn respect. Second of all, you learned how to be patient, to wait in line when it's your turn to play, and you learn how to be aggressive and get after things because you don't want to lose. You want to win because if you lose, you could be sitting for an hour, depending on the park.
Correct.
So a lot of that is lost on these kids, and you see it in the attitude of how they play the game. Whether it be college and some of the pros now, because now you got the younger guys that are moving up, and it's from this generation, and you can tell they're just like, okay, I got another game. It bothers me because we all love the game. We wouldn't be here if we didn't, right? And I just it bothers me to see what has happened to the game. It's really not true quote unquote basketball anymore.
Oh, I'm on the same page as everything you just said there because it's hard to watch nowadays.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be honest with you. The only pro game I'll watch occasionally is the Nova Knicks. Only because I know those guys and they're really good guys, and I'm
Well,
rooting hard for
my
those guys.
wife's favorite team right now is the New York Knicks, and
Yeah.
I'll have to tell her that you call her the Nova Knicks because I like the Knicks because I like those three kids from Villanova. I wish everybody was like them.
Yeah, and
So
and as the rumor is they're trying to get DiVincenzo back,
I heard that. Actually, my
and
wife told me
and
that.
I also heard that Sadiq Bey is a guy that's playing for the Pelicans now. He started out with the Detroit Pistons, and he wound up in DC, tore his ACL, came back last year, and he was one. It's funny because there are 3 guys that wore the number 41 at Villanova. Me, a guy named James Bryson who played for Coach Steve Lapis, and Sadiq. So James and I are close. We have that whole thing going on that, he's 41, I'm 41. So we grabbed Sadiq at one of the events and said, "Hey, look, you got big shoes to fill here. You're wearing our number, so don't mess it up." Meanwhile, the guy's setting records in the NBA, rookie record for most threes made for the Detroit Pistons. So far we're in good hands. But I would love to see him play with the Knicks too, because he can really shoot it from three.
It's amazing though, like when they're in the game together, things just click, and like that's how it should be.
Yeah,
And
like you just said about playing with your brother. I mean, you know where you're supposed to be, and it does click, and their attitude rubs off on everybody. Their Villanova culture, I could see it entwined in the Knicks
right.
culture, you know, which is kind of cool. So I have one thing. Sometimes we do some fun facts, Jim, on this show, and we do our due diligence. We figure these things out, and we come up with things. Some of them have been pretty funny, and some of them, not so much.
Some
So
land, some don't.
some hit and some don't. So it's a hit and miss here, Jim. Just like when you're shooting fouls, which leads me to this book that you wrote, the fun fact that you were an author, 15 feet for free, right? So my
Correct.
question to you is, do you think that that's an ironic title for that book based on the team that you're representing, the Syracuse Orangemen, and
Kind
their foul shooting woes over the last I don't know, few years, let's just say that,
kind of sad, isn't it?
I love the title, 15 feet for free, right, Sonny? I mean that, and I love where the proceeds are going, and we're gonna talk about that too, because
Can you
there
see
it
that,
is.
sir?
Oh, that's awesome. There you go.
See, that's where my brother Mike and I grew up playing on that.
That's awesome.
And I remember he always would go to Coach Danforth. He goes, "How'd you ever find us two?"
Yeah,
He said, "Hey, if you can play, you can play."
That's it.
that
On
was
the
going to be
fan
my question.
backboard.
How
We
did
used
you
to
find
play
us?
on a fan backboard in our backyard too.
That's
Yep.
Jimmy Chitwood we got right here.
That's Jimmy. That's right. That's right. So tell me, how did the book come about? And talk about that for a second.
Well, obviously, I grew up shooting foul shots since I think right when I started in fifth or sixth grade. Sonny, I remember my father took me down to one of those foul shooting
Options.
contests
Yeah.
in Binghamton somewhere,
Yep.
and I actually think I won it like in fifth or sixth grade. I got something somewhere from somewhere down in Binghamton. I won it, and I got another couple that maybe I was in second place. But as I got older, I feel like I'm not the biggest guy in the world, so this could get me some playing time. And I swear, when I got to college, I was coming off the bench. I was sixth man my sophomore year. But whenever there was a technical foul shot, and to this day, I don't know how Coach Danforth did it. I'd be sitting on the bench, and unless they changed the rules or whatever, and all of a sudden, get in quick. Like, so it's a dead ball because there's a technical, and next thing you know, I'm in the game and I'm shooting it. And he did it a number of times, but then it's up to me. They got me into games quicker. But I'll tell you, my sophomore year, once I got the hang of things, I think he didn't want me to get too cocky because there are certain games at the beginning of the year. It's like, well, these guys are pretty good. Jim can't play. I go, what do you mean? You didn't give me a chance to play against better teams.
Wow.
At the end of the games, though, I was always in my sophomore year because if they were looking to foul, I go, he was going to say, just keep the ball and don't foul, don't make a turnover. So that got me into a lot of games, and then the rest is just, I became a good foul shooter. So after my
So
dad
wait,
passed
I don't
away,
want to, not to cut you off, but
no,
do you, in foul shooting, they say it's repetition, right? So you got to
yeah,
do the same thing over and over, the same way. If you're going to dribble it three times, it's three times every shot.
correct.
All that kind of stuff. How much did that play into your style of free throw shooting?
I always dribbled the ball twice,
Okay.
and then shot it from there. I never spun the ball. I never did anything extra. I just waited for the
Keep it
referee to give
simple.
it
Yeah.
to me, and that's all part of what I say. Like some of these kids, they don't. I don't know what they're doing. Some of these kids at Syracuse,
I don't think they do.
but
You
most
know,
of them have good form. But I mean, I've noticed like Carmelo Anthony's son, he always wants to flip the ball first. And well, don't flip it because that's just another more room to make an error.
Yeah, and right here.
Bounce the ball a couple times and shoot. But I had done it so many times that whenever, and when you're in a game and it comes down to, okay, one on one wins this game, a one on one, just make one of them and we're going up, or you're at the foul line down one, you're shooting two. I mean, you get nervous, and I'm
Yeah.
just like everybody else, but I didn't think of any. The only thing I thought of in situations like that was just bend my knees and fall through because I knew all the rest, the mechanics would take over. I knew that. And that's what I think a lot of these kids don't have the confidence to do it now.
Yeah.
But then again, they didn't put the time in because you know as well as I do, right now, kids just want to dunk the ball and shoot three pointers.
That's it.
And they don't, because shooting foul shots is not cool by any chance, unless you're at the line at the end of the game and miss it to cost your team the victory.
Now
And then all of
listen,
a sudden you got,
I'm talking with two good shooters. I saw Sonny play. Sonny was a real good shooter. And he became a better shooter when they took him off the point for this guy named Pearl Washington. He became a real good 2 point 3 point shooter. Um so what bothers me, and tell me if this bothers you too. I'm watching a kid play from whatever team, it doesn't
right.
matter. And I see him hitting the front of the rim every single time. Even when it goes in, it hits the front rim, goes in, or it hits the front rim and bounce. Aren't you taught, like, don't you know if you're a shooter, okay? And I wouldn't consider, I had a pretty good shot for a guy 7 foot tall, but I wouldn't consider myself a shooter, okay? But I know how to make an adjustment so that I'm not hitting the front rim over and over again. And it bothers me. I don't know why it bothers me so much, but when I watch Villanova and I watch what's going on with them, and I see certain things, and I'm screaming at the TV. Will you bend your knees? Will do you get like that when you see Syracuse play?
I always, whenever I missed one, I can tell you this, I know why I missed it. And
Right.
to answer your question, I don't think a lot of them, okay, I just missed three in a row. Short. Okay, so either bend your knees a little more or just
Yeah.
use the arm up and over
Up.
and
That's
make,
exactly
like you
right.
said, make an adjustment. And that's why, or if all of a sudden, if you miss one just off to the left, it's like, oh, my follow through wasn't right to the
Right.
basket. So, I mean, but it's easy to do that, but I don't know how these kids at any school think nowadays. Um,
Yeah,
they're the ones that
it's
just tell that.
a lot of mental. It really is. I mean,
Yeah,
we had a guy at our high school. He was rest in peace now, Coach Stan Kellner. I don't know if you heard the name, but
no,
he did a thing called psycho-cybernetics where it was mind over matter type of thing.
I
And
read that
he had
book.
a poster in the book that I had that book and I had the poster on the wall where two basketballs fit in the rim. And then you had this thing where you had your follow through so you can see the follow through, the gooseneck follow through, and that helped tremendously. And once you started to visualize, he would always tell us to visualize when you went to sleep. And it really helped because when you got on the line, it was like you'd been there 1,000 times. It's just repetition and put it in the basket type of thing.
You're going to have to get a copy of my book because I mentioned that in there about
Oh, do you?
the book I mentioned about psycho cybernetics and everything. It's just, hey,
He was the main
yeah,
he was the patriarch of Brentwood High School basketball back in
okay.
the day. And
But it makes sense. If your arc is a little higher, the
yep,
rim seems a little bigger. If
yep,
it's no arc on the ball, then it's not as big.
Mhm.
yep.
And sometimes that's why you got to extend the arm upward instead of outward. And
A lot of people don't know that two balls fit in the rim,
yeah,
So
I know. I knew that too. It's like once that happens, like this is a piece of cake.
yeah, you're right.
Funny thing
Exactly.
is, I like I said, I used to shoot 100 foul shots a day, and I kept a record of it all the time. And once I went to school and stayed up here before my mom passed away and stuff, and I feel like I wonder if I still have that because I mean I had it like from let's say fifth and sixth grade on, but when I got a hold of my mother, she said, "No," I goes, "I threw all that stuff away," and I was kind of hoping that I had it before I wrote this book because I thought it'd be cool to say like, "Here, you want proof? Here it is from fifth grade on." The only thing got a little more legible was my handwriting, but that's the basket I shot. That I made 423 in a row in that basket there, right there on the front cover.
One of the things I do too, if I work with somebody, Jim, especially on their free throws, right? The first thing I try to do is I said, you got to take out all the extra stuff, right? All the spin, the dribble. And one guy used to take two dribbles, go around his waist once or twice. I was like, listen, think about your mind, like if you don't do everything in that routine exactly on point, right? Like building a house, you're going to be off mentally when you go, oh, you know what? I didn't go around my back right. I said, I tried to get him to take one dribble max, right? Two if that was, too much, but that's it. And then you got set, and now it's set, finish. I just, and it takes a long time to, but now, right, it's in the devil's in the details. They got to do the work and the practice at that style of shot, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So in the book though, right? I've read it. I have it on digital. I have it on my Kindle. I read it, of course. Uh Talk about just the impetus for writing and where does the money go?
Well, I started out figuring like this would be actually a couple of my friends are the ones who mentioned, he goes, why don't you write a book? And I feel like, maybe I'll try it. And I do know that it would help people if they just look at it and read it and try
Yep.
to do it. But I did it and I figured if I do this, anything I make, I'm going to just donate half of it to Chuck. Syracuse has in their Whitman School of Management, they've got a veterans program. And they've got one that runs 1 week every year. It's called the EBV program. It's Entrepreneurship Boot Camp for Veterans with Disabilities.
Okay.
Now, Sonny knew who my dad was. My dad lost both his legs in World War II. So I figured, like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can raise a little money. Now, obviously, it's not a New York Times bestseller, so I haven't been able to raise that much. But I give him something, and I do other stuff on my own. And you never would have known my dad was disabled, ever. I mean, he had no legs. He worked at IBM down in Endicott for all those years. He made sure we all had jobs at IBM in the summer when we were growing up. And as soon as we got done, he said, now this is why you pay attention when you go to college so you don't have to do something like this. I said, the only reason I got this job is because I left in high school to go in the war, got my legs ripped off me, and I think people felt sorry for me, so they gave me a job. He goes, and he did it for like, I don't know, right till he fell again at Susquehanna Valley and broke his hip. So once he
Oh
did
wow.
that, then he couldn't wear the prosthetics anymore. He had to go to the wheelchair, but even in a wheelchair, you never would have known he was disabled. So that's why I tried to do it that way. And heck, I was thinking, wouldn't it be nice if, like, through the Syracuse University network, all the alumni that are all over the world, to say, if each one of them bought a book, I mean, I could donate probably $1 million to that EBV program.
That's
But it
cool.
didn't happen. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it all started. And people try to get me to do more. I says, hey, I tried, and it didn't
Yeah.
work out. It's there, but I don't know.
Now, talk
So
about
Chuck,
your
I gotta
dad for
tell
a
you, wait, I
second.
gotta tell you, the
Go ahead.
first time I met Jim's father, I didn't know any of this. I never never met his father. I met Jim and Mike at camp, right? And I was trying to
Okay.
fix Mike up with my sister. Truth be told. Okay. So I'm pitching a baseball game at River Park in Kirkwood, and all of a sudden this gentleman rolls up in the wheelchair and starts talking to me. And I'm just talking to him, and next thing you know, it's actually Jim's dad. He would come down and watch me pitch, and he just loved to be around the park and watch games. And like Jim said, you wouldn't know it. You never knew a history, and he was never crying the blues. He was who he was, and it was
Right.
really cool to meet him and then get to know him. And then sometimes I was looking for him. I wonder if he's at the game today.
He
He would
didn't
love
have
to
your
show up.
schedule.
Yep. He would
Yeah,
love
that's
to come
cool.
down. That
Well,
was
I
great.
mean, from again doing your dad was a decorated war hero, correct? I mean, I know you're being a little humble about him and everything, but what happened? I mean, it was he. I don't know what he got, but I know that he was a decorated.
He actually, I mean, actually he was in the Coast Guard, and they were just patrolling the East Coast of the United States.
Okay.
And on a foggy night off of Martha's Vineyard is when it's basically like friendly fire with ships.
Oh,
There was a U.S. naval destroyer, couldn't see. There's this, like I said, foggy night, just broadsided his ship, and actually, I don't know, right in the middle of that photo over there, that's this Coast Guard cutter, which is very
okay.
small. but it ripped the boat in half. But unfortunately for my dad, he happened to be sleeping right in, it just ripped his legs right off him on
Wow.
impact. And actually, we had to, if it wasn't for one of your Long Island brethren,
There you go.
Moses Duncan was his name. He was about 6'4", 250 pounds. He was the chef, the cook. And I remember my dad saying, I was in and out of consciousness, and I see all my buddies are just leaving me for dead. And all of a sudden, Moses came over. He must have been on the set. There's not only one, bunk on there as far as level.
Yep.
He goes, threw him over his shoulder. Says, I'm going to get you out of here, Snook. Just threw him over his shoulder and walked him out, got him on. Next thing you know, he woke up in the Rhode Island hospital, and then he got transferred actually to Philadelphia
Okay.
and Franklin Field, right
Yep.
with the hospital right there.
Yep.
He spent three. I mean, this is how how the techniques and medicine has improved. He was in the hospital for 3 years, I was told.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean,
He's lucky he lived through that experience.
well, the funny thing is that's what he always used to say. He said, when I was in the hospital, I says, okay, I got two ways to look at this. I can feel sorry for myself, or just wake up and say, I'm not supposed to be here, so I'm going to just be happy. And I remember my future father-in-law, the first time I ever met my dad, he said, I remember when I met him. He goes, I'm looking, I go like, I can't believe I've never met anybody happier than him.
Yeah.
He goes, he always had a smile on his face.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
Chuck, he made sure that Mike and I mean, he got us into baseball, he got us into basketball, he got us into football. And he put like just a 30 by 30 blacktop slab in the backyard. And there happened to be a telephone pole there and so he put it so it matched up at the end. And that's what my mother used to hang out clothes. And that's how we played. And I
That's
mean,
great.
and playing baseball in the side yard, I don't know how many windows we broke. And he never complained. He goes, I'll get it fixed. And I go, why'd you guys, as we got older, why'd you let us do things like that? It was almost like, because we knew where you'd be.
Yeah.
So if that was the price he paid, it's like, yeah. So,
What a great attitude to have. I mean, after what happened to him and everything, that's amazing, really.
well, I think that's where I get my attitude from. I know my brother Mike's the same. Actually, my other brothers are the same.
Yep.
And we just figure like, hey, we watched somebody grow up with never complained without any legs. So what do we got to complain about? We shouldn't complain about anything.
That's exactly right. Well,
So
And you know what? And I think the way things turned out for Mike and I here, my brother Mike was a 6'3" forward at Syracuse,
yeah,
huh?
and everybody like that was covering him or he was covering them. He goes, "Get it to me." He goes, "I got a little guy," and like, well, he either stripped the ball from him or he had a pump fake on him, which. Now, Chuck, I'm not. This has nothing to do. But if you were on him he started pump faking you, at some point you're going to say, "This it ain't going up." But somehow he would draw a foul on you. I don't know how he does it.
I know I
And,
played against guys like that. I know
but I
I
mean,
know exactly what you're saying.
it was like so he was able to play at that, and like Sonny knows me. I was like 6'1". They put me at 6'2", but I weighed 165 pounds when I graduated from Syracuse. And I always wonder, well, why did all these good things happen to me at the end? We went to the Final Four. I ended up being the leading scorer in the tournament. It's like, well, I don't know. I got to figure it's a higher power that made it so we could give our father enjoyment, is what I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I
That's
So,
gotta
awesome.
ask something though, because I know where Jimmy grew up, right? And it's rural, okay? So where did you go to find better competition? Like where did you go to get challenged on the court?
you'll know this because I used to when we would see I played in the country league as opposed to Sonny with the big city.
Yeah, the big city of
I
Endicott.
was
I
in the
mean,
big city
that's
league. He was in the Suss league.
yeah,
But Chuck, we would always go down and scrimmage the city teams, and my dad worked with a lot of the guys' parents
Yeah, Endicott. Yeah.
at IBM,
Mhm.
and so when we would scrimmage them, I would get to know them, and then every summer, I mean, I didn't really play with any of the guys I went to high school with because, and it's not because they just didn't want to play. So I found I would we'd pick up the phone, and I know one of the places we played when it was my turn to arrange the games, it was the Windsor Pool because they had a blacktop court down in Vestal. We used to get into the gym down there after school. Remember the wrestling coach down there, Al Packer, Sonny?
Hmm.
So Al used to let us in. He would watch the wrestling, but he would open the gym so guys like us could play basketball. And then where else do we go? Well, I played with Mr. Taylor down at what was the park by right next on the road next to the arena leading up to it, Susquehanna Street, or
Oh yeah, Susquehanna Street. Yeah, that's
what was that park down
Columbus
there?
Park. Columbus
Columbus
Park.
Park. I'd go
That
down
was
with
some
Mr.
good
Taylor
basketball at
'cause
Columbus Park. Yep.
my dad knew him, and I guess he was a good boxer in his days.
Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
so that's how we would just make arrangements. And funny, just like the last year or two, I've been on a text chain now with about 8 different guys, and they're all from the Binghamton area, all that were there, and they just wanted to get back together. But I knew them all,
That's
so
great.
I had to search out and find them, but we did.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I
We had
felt
to
like
look
it was
for him,
easier
Chuck.
for you down in you had a lot of people around.
Yeah, well, you go to any park, even on Long Island, there was people playing, at that time. We'd ride our bikes in and had to be home when the lights came on,
Yep.
So let's jump to 1975 and that team, the Final Four team. We talked a bit about it off the air, but um my first question to you is this, because I have to know this, and Sonny knows exactly where I'm going, okay? When Sonny played, okay, at Syracuse, Bernie Fine was the guy that everybody went to when they couldn't talk or wouldn't talk to Coach Boeheim. All right. He was that guy. I have to know. Now, Jim was the assistant on your team, correct?
Correct.
Was he the guy, the Bernie Fine for that team?
I'm gonna have to say no.
Yeah, okay. We kind of knew.
He didn't talk to anybody.
He So what was his role? I mean, listen, we had guys. Marty Marbach was that guy for us, and Steve Lapis, Mitch Bonaguro. Those guys, all looked out for us and everything. Was he not in tune with the players? Did he really not?
He
Could,
not really. I mean, to me, he was just Coach Boeheim. He handled the I don't even know if he handled the forwards or or the centers. I'm not sure which he did because I was down with the guards with Coach Danforth. But
right,
we only had it was just Boeheim and Tommy Green, he was coach at Fairleigh Dickinson for all those
right.
years. They were our two assistants. They handled a lot of the recruiting, scouting, and like I said, I have this good story with Boeheim. I remember my senior year. Um, I was in a shooting slump,
Okay,
I'm the only one that knew I was in a shooting slump. I mean, but I couldn't make it. I couldn't make anything, practice or whatever. And I think it was actually it came around the time my dad got in an accident, the one I was just talking about at a high school that broke his hip, so he couldn't use his legs anymore, and he was in the hospital for 3 games. I know. I remember it was we had American U at our place.
yep,
We beat them. I didn't play good. We beat Temple, and I can't remember if that was actually. I don't know if that was home. I think that was actually at the Palestra,
yeah.
and we
Sonny's
played.
favorite place.
Hey, do you know I'm undefeated at the Palestra? I don't mean
That's
that.
funny because Sonny is defeated in the Palestra.
Never won in the Palestra. Let's leave it at that.
You're
I
undefeated and Sonny's defeated, so we're even
I
Steven.
never got beat there.
We never
Wow.
won there.
And then we had Boston College, and I remember at the Boston College game. And speaking of that game, I mean, never had a home job except for Boston College. I mean, they
That's
shot
right.
45 foul shots, and we shot 9.
Wow.
And our first 7 guys
That's
fouled
okay. I'm
out.
glad you got over it. Go ahead.
There's certain things you remember, Sonny.
I'm glad you got over that one. That's good.
No, so anyway, so I remember talking to my dad after. He goes, "When are you getting out of the hospital?" I goes, "I can't play." He goes, "I suck." And he got out. He got out the next that week. But I think it was sometime around there, and I just so finally after one practice, I went to Bayheim. I says, "Hey, coach, you want to stick around after practice?" He goes, "I'm doing something wrong with my jump shot, but I don't know what." So we go down to the other end, and as we get down there, and I says, "I don't know what it is. There's something is not right, and I'm not making them like I used. I can. I know that." And he just told me, he says, "Just hold your follow through, like for 2 seconds after you shoot. Just hold it." So I did that. I was up and I just held it, 1,001, 1,002, and then got the ball again. So I make about 5 or 10 in a row, and then I just started going back and forth from, foul line extended to the back and forth that way. And after about probably around 10 minutes, I still haven't missed one. And finally he goes, "I think you corrected your problem."
Yeah, yeah.
So
He
so
said,
now,
"My
so
work here
Chuck,
is done.
so
My work
no,
is done here.
no,
My
so
work is
Chuck,
done."
so Chuck, here's the thing. So now I go to him, I say, "Hey, coach, why didn't you tell me that beforehand?" He goes, "We didn't ask." I go, "You're the
Holy cow.
coach. You should tell me."
Wow.
You
That
see?
that doesn't sum up Coach B. I don't know what does, right, Sonny?
No,
Come
no,
on.
no. Tell the truth. No, Jim then finally said, "Hey, can you help me with women?" He said, "I got one piece of advice."
Wow. It's amazing. The guy goes on to win over 1,000 games. He's a Hall of Famer. He's great. This great coach. But the relationships part of it is tough. Like everybody's got their own style, I guess. I'm not knocking Coach B. I loved Coach B. I almost went there. That was my second choice. But I look at Coach Massimino's personality is far different than Jim. He would give you a hug where Jim would kind of shy away from that type of thing.
Right.
And it just is interesting to me to see the level of success that he's had as a coach and have his personality that he has. It's just different.
Wait, you knew his father was a mortician, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we knew that.
Okay, yeah.
We
So
we heard the Dave Bing story when they
okay,
went
so you
over
heard
there for
that, but I think
Thanksgiving
that
dinner.
probably plays into it a little. He grew
Yeah,
up around dead people.
yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if I'd like that.
So talk. Let's talk about Coach Danforth because I've never really heard much. Tell me a little bit about your interaction with him because obviously he got Mike to go, and like you said, when Mike goes, I'm going to go. If they offer me, what was his personality like? Because he
I
seemed to
mean,
be fiery.
he was, and like I think both of you guys would like if you knew him, you'd hang out because if after he would after a game, he'd go have a beer or a drink with anybody, even if you didn't know him, and people like that. Now, and then once again, I'm friends with Bayham too, but you know that Bayham doesn't go out and mingle with people after a game to maybe drum up a little more fan support. He lets some other people do that. But I remember I mean, I got to go up and watch Syracuse for 2 years when I was in high school. I'd go up with my dad to watch Mike play when I could.
Right.
And so I saw how they were playing, and I liked this style of play. He goes, "Hey, we're going to fast break." He goes, "But it will always be under control." But he goes, "Kids like to run," and he goes, "So that's what I want. I want kids that want to play like this." And so the 2 years when I was going up, actually, I figured like I had a scouting report on everybody that was in Mike's class and everybody in the class below Mike, which would have been Dennis Duval's a year and Bobby Dooms and the guards. And I figured I had it figured out where I could start as a sophomore, seeing who was there. But what I didn't take into account was that when Rudy came in with me, Rudy went to forward spot and Mark Waddick. So Mark Waddick was 6'2" as opposed to my brother Mike 6'3". They were the two forwards. So Mark, they moved back to the backcourt. And but I loved how he played. They played as a team. They were always moving the ball. And where I guess I think if you say I don't even know if I could play for Bayham's team because his were all more one-on-one and individual plays. Wouldn't you say
Yeah.
the same over the
Yeah,
course
it's a
of
different
time?
style. It is very
Right.
different.
And
Very.
but my style wasn't like I say at 6'2". I could fit into his system, but it was still like I looked it up. We averaged over 80 points a game the 3 years I was there with no 3-point shot and no shot clock. We didn't need a shot clock, but
Right.
that's he was fun to play with. And I always look at it. He must know what he's doing if he took us clowns to the Final Four. I mean, if when you look at the talent level compared to like I think that's what the guy from Sports Illustrated has made a few comments like that when he was writing his article. But he goes, like we always say, you can say what you want about us, write about us, but you can't take the fact away that we went to the Final Four and we were in both games we played.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
Chuck,
you were.
with these guys, they had a reunion 4 years ago, and Coach Danforth and every player except is one player deceased at the time?
Hmm.
So two
Two.
players are deceased. Everybody else was there.
That's amazing.
That's
I mean,
That's
amazing.
right.
And then they
it
took a
is.
picture, and everybody was in the same seat, and there was just two seats where there wasn't a person,
Wow.
but everybody else was there. It was unbelievable.
And then you
So,
met him last year, right? So I introduced
Yep,
you to him
I
last
met
year too,
Coach last
Sonny.
year. Yeah.
so talk about the Final Four. We talked about it off the air. It was you guys, it was UCLA, it was Louisville, and it was Kentucky,
That's the
right?
Blue
So
Bloods and Syracuse.
that's the Blue Bloods and Syracuse. That's
That's
right.
that's
Now,
basically what it was.
you matched up against Kentucky in your first round game, correct?
Yep.
So talk about that game for a minute, if you would.
And I've become friends with Kevin Greavy over the years.
Yeah.
And actually, I've golfed with him a couple times down when I go out to the DC area, and like he always tells us, like, and he's more kind to us than like the writers up here in Syracuse. He goes, Jim, the only reason that we beat you guys, you couldn't match up with us, which was true. I mean, you got to figure, I was 6'1", Jimmy Williams 5'11". Their two guards were both Jimmy Dan Connor's the other. Jimmy Dan Connor and Mike Flynn, they're both 6'4". And you had who was it, Rick Roby, who
Roby,
was
yeah.
7 footer,
Gatekeeping.
and our center was 6'9". And then Rudy was up against Bob Paquette, who was I think he was 6'9", Rudy was 6'9", and then we had Chris Cease at 6'5", and they had another 6'10" guy. So, and like Kevin tells me, he goes, Jim, there were 10 guys on our team that year that actually went to the NBA. I go, well, we had Rudy played for a half a year with the St. Louis Spirits and then went over to Europe. And but like I mentioned, I mentioned to you earlier, we were down 8 points with less than 10 minutes to go, and I made a bonehead play, and it would have been a good play if I made it, but I didn't. And that was kind of a turning point because it sent Rudy to the bench with 4 fouls.
Yep.
Instead of being down 6, we're down 10, and kind of ran out of steam with them. But you know it. Well, you've been there, and you know what
Yeah.
it's like. I mean,
Well, we're letting Sonny know what it's like to be there,
oh,
Jim.
okay.
I was
Sonny's never
waiting.
been there.
I was
Sonny's
waiting
never
for
been
it,
there.
man.
Sonny, it's the best experience of my life.
Yeah, yeah. Do you remember you
Sonny's been to the. He's actually good luck. We made him an honorary Wildcat. Don't tell anybody at Syracuse when you go back up there.
wait
He's,
But
to
hey,
Jim's credit, he brought me back some dice keychain from Las Vegas.
oh, really?
Yes, he
That's
did.
funny.
that's
That's
uh,
funny.
that's what we after that tourney, Chuck. We stopped in Vegas because back then you didn't have to take the team flight, the charter flight with the team. It was season was over, so he says here. So I went to Vegas with Stevie Shaw and my brother Mike was out there and a
Oh
couple other
wow.
guys and going into Vegas to our room going, he goes, I have $13 in my pocket. That's
Yeah.
all to my name. Luckily, somebody got us a room and we ended up like I think I had 6 of us sleeping on the floor or whatever. It just but hey, and I do remember walking through the casino and that whatever you spin it and spin a wheel and whatever. And some guy's looking at me as I'm walking through, and I just got a bag and stuff. He goes, I know you, kid. I go, okay, I've never been here before. And he says, you just played in the Final Four, didn't you? I go, yeah. He goes, and he says, I lost money on you. He goes, good. I'm glad you bet the wrong way. How about that though? I just go like,
That's
really?
wild. Yeah, it's interesting when somebody comes up to you and says, "I've had a lot of people tell us that, we lost money or I play, I won money and, you know,
What did
it,
Pete Rose tell you?
well, yeah, this is great, Jim. So, uh, Ortho Davis used to be the trainer for the Philadelphia Eagles, and they had an Ortho Davis Foundation where they raised money and scholarship two kids that were studying to be athletic trainers,
Okay.
in the Philadelphia market. Okay. So, in one of the six schools in Philly. So, they're honoring the 85 team. They're honoring Harold Carmichael, who's one of the guys that runs this thing. The 85 Flyers, who lost to it was Wayne Gretzky's first Stanley Cup win, but they got to the
Okay.
Cup Finals, and Pete Rose for the hit streak that happened that year. So we're looking around and we see Pete, and Pete, we take a picture with him, and he comes in and he's telling us about, he's sitting talking baseball with my son and I for about a half an hour, about hitting against the shift and all. And we had a blast. And he took a liking to us for whatever reason, bought us a couple of drinks. He had a line of people. I said, Pete, we should get going. He said, don't worry about them. They'll wait. Come on, I love talking to you guys. Ask me some more questions. We were asking him all kinds of stuff. So now it's time to speak. I spoke on behalf of the 85 team. And I, I'm pretty good in public like that. There was about 800 people there probably. And Pete is sitting behind me, but catty corner, so I can turn and talk to him. So he's telling me who was the guy that missed the shot in the second half. I said Dwayne McClain. So he ribs Dwayne McClain about that, right? And then he says that 85 team reminded me a lot of me. He goes, I was Charlie Hustle. You guys were diving on the floors and everything, but I got to be honest with you, Chuck. I've never said this before. And he's talking to me in front of the 800 people. And he goes, but I really liked you because I took the points that night. And he came over and fist bumped me. And the place went wild. The place went absolutely wild. Nobody expected him to say that. So yeah. So I know about people that won money and lost money on our game. That's for
That's
sure.
great. That's great.
Yep. So who was on that UCLA team? Because they
So
was that was that a Walton team or no?
no, Walton had graduated. That was Wooden's last year.
Oh, okay.
And he had
It was
there was
Michael Warren then,
Richard
right?
Washington,
Richard
Marcus
Washington
Johnson,
was the big,
David
yeah.
Myers,
Yeah.
Andre McCarter, who was it? Pete Turgovich, Ralph
Okay.
Drollinger.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have got beat by Louisville the two nights before. I mean, who was it? They had a kid that was 28 for 28 who had a 1-1, and they were up one on Louisville. He makes them game over. Misses the front end of 101, get the rebound. They go down. Richard Washington hits probably a 12-foot turnaround corner jump shot buzzer. They're
Wow.
home. Yeah, I mean, oh, and
That was his last game, Coach Wooden. That was it,
correct,
right?
yeah.
He went out on the championship note, that right?
And Louisville had a good team. They had like Junior
Yeah.
Bridgman, Bill Bunton.
Junior Bridgman was a
Junior.
hell of a
Now, did you
player.
know Junior at all?
Junior Bridgman was not only a great basketball player, but was even a better businessman. He just passed
Right.
away a couple of
Yeah.
years
Okay.
ago.
So, did you know him at all?
No, I've met
I,
him once, but didn't really know the man.
I got to meet him, became pretty good friends with him. And actually, have you been to any of the Chili's restaurants down in the Philly area when you're there?
Oh yeah, man.
Well,
Yep.
my buddy owned all those
Oh
from
really?
high school.
Wow.
That's how I got and he's the one who introduced me to Junior. How about
Yeah.
he calls
He
me
was
one
the
day from the
franchise
golf.
king. He had hundreds of
Oh
franchises.
yeah. But he calls me one day from the golf course. He goes, "Hey Jim, guess who I'm with?" How am I supposed to know? That was his question. He goes, "We plays basketball." He goes, "How am I
Well, that's
supposed
not
to
helping.
know?"
That's not
Well, you
helping
play.
me.
He goes, "Well, you played against him." He goes, "Joe, how am I supposed to know?"
Right.
And then he told me, it's like, "Oh man, put him on." So I did, and I became friends with him, and I had him up here in Syracuse, and of course it had to be in July, when that's the only month that doesn't snow up here. So
Yeah.
he came up, and we had a nice Steve Shaw and myself, and Junior and my buddy. So Junior and I took those two on.
Wow.
But he is one of the nicest. human beings I've ever met.
Yeah, he was. He sure
And yeah,
was.
and I know what
And
you're
was a
saying about
brilliant
businessman.
businessman. I mean, made way more money in business than he did ever playing basketball.
I know it.
Oh yeah.
I actually asked him that. I says, why doesn't the NBA get you in front of these kids to talk to them? He goes, Jim, they do. I go, you're
Really?
kidding me. He said, half of them don't listen because they think they've got to do it for their posse and their family. And my uncle took care of me. It's like they don't listen.
Wow.
I go, really? And he goes, if they don't listen to you, and you're right, he's got more money now than any of these guys made playing
Yeah.
hoops because
Right.
he didn't play for much. I looked it up when
No.
I found out all the restaurants he owned, and I go, wow.
Yeah. I tell you who did listen to him, Magic Johnson, because he's got about as many
Yep.
franchises as Junior had.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
And
he's
he's got a
yeah.
piece of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and I think he's got a piece of the Lakers
The
Yeah,
Commanders,
both.
the Lakers, the Dodgers.
and the Commanders. That's right. Yeah.
He's doing okay. You don't have to worry about Magic, that's for sure.
Yeah. We don't have to send him a donation. He's good.
He's good. He's
Yeah.
good. So are you looking, I guess you're looking forward to this big event coming up on the 21st, right? I mean,
Yeah, I got all my kids are coming in. I
how
got
many tickets did they give you?
I had to ask. He goes, I go, can you at least get me 9 seats? He goes, yeah. Oh, yeah. I was wondering if they wouldn't or not. No, I've got five of my own,
Right?
but I asked for, I goes, can you get me 9 tickets? And I figure I'm going to need a parking pass too, because I'm coming in from Hilton Head and I got to get my three grandkids are coming, which I got six, four, and one. And I already got the 4 and the 6-year-old. I got the two of them. I got them all pumped up to get on the court with me.
Yeah,
So
you
I'm
got to
looking
get a
forward to it.
family
That's a
picture
great
on the
moment. That
on
is a
the
great
S on
moment.
the dome court, right? I would think at some point during the
Well,
year.
You should have
who
a
knows?
box. You should have a luxury box for you and Rudy and your families.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll happen, Sonny?
We'll talk about that later.
Sonny can make some calls for you. Don't even worry about it. Sonny's very well known over there now at Syracuse. He's Mr. Syracuse.
I could sneak you in through the bottom dome door.
Right. Right. He knows all the ins and outs over there at the dome. In fact, Sonny took me to see Paul McCartney there.
Did he? Nice.
He didn't introduce me or anything, but we did see the show, right, Sonny?
That's right, Sir Paul.
Sir Paul, that's right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So listen,
And
well,
what's the thing Chuck said? You know what he said? Because they haven't changed this place. They haven't changed this place in 35 years.
no, not one thing,
Nothing.
including the
Seats,
bathroom.
the bathrooms.
Oh my gosh.
And Chuck, just for the record too, the benches. Sometimes I think the bench seats are more comfortable than the new seats they just put in.
Really? Wow.
They did put some seats in and they did do some changes.
Looks
Okay.
good though.
They changed the name. I know
Yeah.
that. Now, does it still, when you walk in there, Jim, does it still suck you in the door when you
No,
walk in?
no more, no more.
No
They put
more.
the new roof there. My kids used to love that. I take them to the game, and that's what they look forward to the best. He goes, "Oh, we got to go out this." Open the door, and they're just, especially my youngest, who lives in LA now.
Yeah.
She used to love it. Just get
Yeah.
blown out because I took her. They came up for Christmas, so I took two of them, and we had to go through a normal door. He goes, "Oh, no more." It's the
Nope.
little things.
Nope. Yeah. Well, that was what all the air keeping the roof up, right?
Now
Yep.
this is 50 years since they were in the Final Four too. 2025.
Oh,
51.
I know. I know. They
51,
were
Sonny.
10 years before us.
You were only a kid,
Wait a second. Your Final Four was 74, 75, right?
right?
And we were 84,
Well,
85.
all right. So this is 25, but as we get into 2026, you're right. Because we're in
Chuck, I
26.
want you to know I did look up to see what your free throw percentage was at Villanova.
Yeah, you don't have to share that with
I'm not
everyone.
gonna. I'm not gonna.
It was, you know what? When you don't take that many, it should have been higher, actually. That's funny. Yeah, I mean, listen, if you were talking to the two stars of each of our teams, you wouldn't be talking to us. But we happen to be the glue, both of us, you for Syracuse and me for Villanova, that keeps it all together. And really, at the end of the day, Jim, that's what it's all about,
And
right?
I think that I'm with you guys. I think I'm the glue too with our team.
He is.
Are you?
That's why
Yeah,
the three
the
of you.
70s.
That's why we were getting along so good.
There you go. There you go.
Yep.
Well, listen, we'll have to have you back when you can get your friend Marty Head together and have him come on. It would be really interesting to talk to him because I remember him when I was looking at school when I was watching
Okay.
Syracuse to play. I remember watching him back in the early days of the Big East when the Big East first started. Like those, I remember seeing them at the Dome against Villanova in that triple overtime game, and he was tough. He was a tough player. So
He was really tough. He
yeah,
got tougher as he got there. You know,
yeah,
it's funny. I was looking at some of the things like, because we played, we were an independent back then. I think
right.
Villanova was too, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
And they had like the ECAC in '75. But I wrote this. I'm looking through it. So in the ECAC championships, they had four. I think the first year they did it was 1975. So they split it up. They had a Metro Division, a New England, Southern, and Upstate. But out of that, like you talk about the Big East.
Right.
Well, out of the what do we got here? 16 teams here. You've got St. John's, Seton Hall, Rutgers, UConn, BC, Providence, Georgetown, West Virginia, Pitt, and us. There's ten teams
Sounds
that
very familiar.
so we played most of the teams, even though we're independent,
Right.
that ended up being in the Big East all the time.
Well,
Yep.
that's what Conosecca told us. He said, I already played these guys. I don't want to have to play them twice.
Yeah,
He goes,
that was his thought. Yeah.
that was his quote,
I
right?
want to play him twice. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do I want to do that? But it worked out for everybody in the end, right? So, the
Yep.
Big East formed, and the rest is, as they say, is history. So
I think I liked that rumor going around, or somebody said it. The Big East and the ACC should join forces and just make one big league.
I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you.
Well, that's
I
if
mean, I
you're on
mean,
the
I
good.
like the fact that we would get Pitt and Syracuse back and
BC.
BC. But the rest of it, I don't know, man. It's tough because some of those schools you're kind of going back to the way it was. It's sometimes you think it's too many teams in a conference. It kind of waters it down a little bit. But some of these, I mean, Duke had a pretty good football team this year. North Carolina has Belichick now at the helm. They didn't win a lot of games, but he's going to change that
Right.
program around. I mean, you got a lot of pretty good football teams there too. I mean, I don't know how that would work.
Probably a lot of me like I liked it better when they're just playing the East, the guys which we used to play as independents. And
Yeah.
we never used to like the ACC.
You know what? And
Yeah.
and we've said this a million times. Like we've always rooted, like even for, I know Sonny won't say this out loud, but I'll say it. I know we rooted for Georgetown when they were playing North Carolina or when they were playing whoever, Duke or one of
Right,
those teams. And the same thing for St. John's, Syracuse at the time, and the other schools. We all rooted for each other because they were our guys.
right,
Even though
exactly.
even though we wanted to kill them when we played them, but that's what it was all about at that point. So, all right, last question, and I will let you go. What is your, and this is kind of a loaded question a little bit. So, what is your take on current day college basketball? Who do you like, and who do you think could make some noise in the tournament?
I'm going to say I'm going to give you two schools that I think that might end up in the Final Four and
Okay.
win it all. I'm going to say Michigan and Iowa State.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you.
I mean, I got to see them both out in Vegas when Syracuse was playing in that tournament,
Yeah,
and I watched Michigan just dismantle Gonzaga.
they dismantled us
Oh
too
my God. Yeah.
And when did the Villanova play them?
earlier this year.
Earlier? Okay,
Yeah, we lost by I think 35 or something. It was
okay.
something ridiculous.
And Iowa State did the same thing. I mean, Iowa State, Syracuse played them pretty tough the first half.
Right.
Then, like 5 minutes into the second half, they were down 25. But
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, I'm watching them play Purdue. It's a 3-point game, and at the 12-minute mark, Purdue's down 30.
yeah,
I just go like,
that's
man,
crazy.
and they're two really good teams.
Yep, I agree with you.
So
It's wide open. I mean, but I mean, there are certain teams like Michigan in particular has got some big, huge athletes that could really jump and run, and I don't know how you stop that. When you got size and athleticism in the same person, I mean, that's
right.
pretty tough. You know. So, yeah, I can't disagree with you. Well, listen, I got to say, I'm so glad you were able to come out
Oh,
and join us today. We had a great time talking with you. Um, the stories are great. I love hearing all that kind of stuff. And congratulations to you and your roommate Rudy Hackett for getting your numbers retired. I can say this, you guys can't, but what took them so long is my question to you, Jim, right? And I
Yeah,
know
I've said
that's a
that to him.
rhetorical question. I don't expect an answer, but
yeah.
it took them long enough, but I'm glad they're doing it. It's well deserved, and congratulations to you and your whole family. I hope you get the celebratory photo right at center court.
Let's hope.
Yep. So
Well,
the
thanks. It
Big
was a
East.
pleasure to being on.
Well,
I
yeah.
appreciate
Thanks
this.
for hanging with us. The Big East Rewind.
Lee. Just to tell you, Lee. Just throwing it out there.
Yeah, right. Just
J.
throw it out
Hey,
there,
it's
right?
gonna be JLEE.
We could be Leah, Sonny. Don't
I
count it
know.
out.
Trust me. Could be
Don't count
Li.
it out.
Funny. You know how many times I've got asked that question, which Chuck just said? Now, how do you spell that? Leahleigh? So he goes, it's just how it sounds. Lee.
I'll tell you a quick story about names like that. With certain things. So my son was going to get an autograph. His name is Charles John. We call him CJ. Okay. So we're with Isaiah Thomas's right hand man, Joe Favorito. All right. And he's looking to get an autograph for one of the Knicks players. Joe was working for Isaiah with the Knicks at the time, and I forget what player it was. So he said, "Okay, kid, what's your name?" He said, "CJ." He goes, "How do you spell that?" So the kid says CJ. He goes, "No, kid, are you gonna? What is it? Ceejay? Is it? It's CJ." He goes, "I know it's CJ. Do you want the autograph or not? How do you spell it?" He goes, "CJ." He doesn't know. He's like 10 years old, right? So I look at Joe, and Joe goes, "C period J period." So it's not just at Syracuse they make these mistakes. It
How
was
old are your
hilarious.
kids?
But he got his autograph, which was good.
How old are your kids?
32 and 30.
Okay.
They're up there now. Yep.
Add another 10. That's what my three are.
Yep. There you go. And hey, listen, we're 10 years difference. There
I
you
know.
go. So thanks again for coming out. Appreciate you. And you've been watching and listening to the Big East Rewind with Sonny Sparrow and Chuck Everson. The Big East Rewind was produced and directed by Nick Chico Chorus, Daryl Gurney, and James Hapt. Check us out on the SiriusXM app, on YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks a lot for joining us. Have a great night, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.